Hi, thank you for being here. My name is Violetta Todorova, and in this video I'm going to tell you the differences between an acoustic and electric violin in terms of look, sound, and how you would use them. And if you're thinking of learning to play the violin but can't decide which one you should get, I will give you my suggestions at the end of the video. Well, first of all, let's get to the look of it. As you can see, the acoustic violin is made out of wood. It's usually handmade, and if you want to get geeky here with me, it's usually made out of spruce or maple. And the fingerboard, which is this part, and the tailpiece are made out of ebony. It is hollow on the inside. The electric violin can be made out of any material because the body of the instrument has zero effect on the sound. Mine here is made out of wood. This is Yamaha. This is a nice instrument and it's not that expensive, but it doesn't have to be made out of wood. I picked this because I really liked the way it looked. It has this classy feel to it, but at the same time it's still an electric instrument, and this pink thing is just my shoulder rest, so without it, that's what it looks. So the electric violins can be made out of any material, and really the material or the shape of it is only limited by your imagination. Now let's talk about the sound. The acoustic violin does not need to be amplified because the sound comes out through the F holes. So this is how the sound is created on an acoustic. The string vibrates into the bridge, and the bridge carries the vibrations into the body of the instrument. And on the inside, you can't see here, but there is a sound post that carries the vibration from the upper deck to the lower deck. And so the entire thing vibrates, and then the sound comes out of these F holes. So as you can see, I don't need to attach an amp to this to hear what I am doing. And every violin has its own tone and character. Those things usually depend on when, where, and by whom the violin was built. Now, an electric violin is going to have a more artificial sound because the sound travels through the wires and technology rather than vibrating through the hollow body, which, as I said before, is absent with these violins. So here is what an electric violin sounds without an amp. It's pretty thin sound, but look what happens when I plug the amp in. Goes right here, and I gotta turn it on. And so now the sound is completely different. I can control the volume of the violin on the amp itself, and it can be really loud depending on your amp. Now, let's talk about the use of our violins. The acoustic violin is most frequently used in a traditional public or art school setting, in orchestras, and in chamber music. In fact, if you show up with an electric violin to a classical orchestra, that will be your last day on the job. And most of the violin repertoire in the past 500 years has been composed for an acoustic violin. You can actually use the acoustic violin in jazz or bluegrass music, and when you do use the acoustic violin in bluegrass, people will call it a fiddle. Now, the electric you can use really in any band. Again, jazz, you can use it in pop, and you can use it in rock even. And in fact, I am in a rock group that's called Electric 5. If you want to check them out, here's a link to their page. And this group uses only electric violins and cellos. So what's cool about the electric is that you can connect it to your computer and different effect pedals, such as distortion or loop pedals, and play around with different loops. I have recently actually gotten into that and was able to create covers of popular songs really easily, just with the violin and a loop pedal. So if you would like to check some of those out, here will be a link to one of those. Now I will tell you which one is better to start on and offer a bonus solution if you are undecided between the two at the end. If you're enjoying this video so far, please click the like button. It will really help for this video to get noticed and bring value to others. So which one is better to start on? While it might be tempting to start on an electric because it looks cooler, if you have no experience playing the violin, I would definitely recommend starting on an acoustic. And here's why. Well, we have all heard about the $1 million Strads out there and not $1 million electric violins. If you've heard of one, please tell me about it in the comments below. A beginner acoustic instrument will actually be cheaper than an electric instrument that can come close to a nice tone of an acoustic. When you play an acoustic violin, you can physically feel the vibrations of the instrument that signal to you many things that are useful to you in mastering your violin and developing a good ear. For example, you can really hear the ringing of other strings when you play in tune, which teaches you to play better in tune in the future. Plus, if your electric is not amplified, the wispy sound the electric produces is really bad for practicing. Here it is. You really can't tell the differences in volume, in character. And it's just not very gratifying to play something that sounds like that. And my last point for this would be the way it feels. It is important that you start with the correct hand positions as to not injure yourself in the future. And the standard shape of an acoustic instrument will help you really get your positions in order. Since you watched the video this far, I will offer you a bonus solution if you're still undecided on which one you'd like to start on. An electroacoustic violin. Yes, you heard that right. With this one, you get all the features of the acoustic violin, the hollow resonant wooden body, and the standard shape with an option to amplify it through a jack input. The only thing that you won't be able to practice is being quiet for your neighbors. But that might be a good give and take here. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss my next violin video.